Welcome, NewHire. You are employed by a cable management firm called Cable Management Matters. This is our new rollout of our server 2019. It takes place on Windows Active Directory and a hypervisor type 2 so far, but we'll be looking to expand to a bare metal really soon after that to push for performance. In the meantime, this is what your contract is based on. For 3 months, you will be monitoring, improving, and expanding all around on this server right here, as it is a test rollout. So as you can see right here, this is a test rollout server. It is a central database for account information on Active Directory. There is a place to store files for users, a place to add, delete, and maintain current users of our staff that we have. Small staff, very manageable. It is a distribution center of IP addressing that will need configured, and there's namings that go along with it. But there's 5 roles, as you can see on the screen over here, and we're going to dig into it. So table of contents, content for you to refer back to at any point in time. But without further ado, this is our domain statistics page. So this is something I actually created before the server itself. Well, I can't say before the server, but as I was putting the server together, I knew that there was important information that I was going to need to chart down to begin with, and it turned out that I pretty much left it alone and added some photos, and everything fits in nicely. As you can see, the domain name is nevinnet289.com. Computer name is nevinnet289.nevinnet289.com, and then the password to log on to Windows itself is Cisco111. The 5 current employees, they all have the same password as Cisco111. Theirs will be changed after their first entrance, after their first login. My apologies. After their first login, they will be redirected to change that immediately. And any other password, DSRM, is Cisco111. Some just need change, some don't. Windows will prompt you before each. This server has an IP address of 10.0.2.22, the subnet of 255.0.0.0, default gateway of 10.0.2.2, and then right now we're relying on Google's domain names service of 8.8.8, and then alternate that kicks in as 1.1.1. So pretty standard, of course. Here's the server's original page that you are looking at right here, as well as an ipconfig.all to show some more information. The DNS is the first thing we'll look at. Well, actually, you can see there's 5 roles. So we have Active Directory Domain Server, Dynamic Host Control Protocol, Domain Name Services, File and Storage Services, and then IPAM at the very end. IPAM will be very brief. So without further ado, let's go into Domain Name, and then Domain Name Manager. So you can see right here, we're staying in forward lookup. That's where everything takes place. There is the host of, as you remember, 10.0.2.22 on NET-289. It is a host A. Time Warner Cable is another host A of its own excluded IP of 192.168.22.253. You'll see that IP addressing range again sometime later on down on DHCP. Actually, it's the very next thing we'll go over. We have 4 A's at 10.0.5.22. Spectrum is a CNAME, 10.0.7.22, and then following that CNAME is a dish CNAME, 10.0.8.22. And the same screen you see right there is over here as well. So looking at that, we have everything you've seen, the appropriate data and IPs to the side of it. Any one of these is up and running, and that is what you see from that screen. Oh, I crashed it. I knew something wasn't working when it did not load properly. Okay, there you go. So you click on it and get further properties. And here in security, you can absolutely harden this. Prefer you harden it sooner than later, with all appropriate ones in there. Add and remove, there are 5 users in our staff, and we'll go over those in just a little bit. Next, we have our DHCP scope. So I'm going to make my way to DHCP on that manager. Alright, so the first scope we'll go over is a secondary scope. There's no exclusions, there's no rules or anything. It's used as a secondary before we get our NAT network address translation. Moving forward, we are using just scopes that dish out IPs appropriately. So the first scope is a 192.168.0.1 that goes till 192.168.0.100. And it is a secondary, it's a placeholder after the 10.0's lease ends. This will kick in until we get NAT, of course. The main scope is the 10.0.2.1, as you remember from the default gateway, and that goes from 10.0.2 to 50, so not very much, and it ends after 9 days. So this is a very exclusive scope. We're hiring a couple more people rather urgently, and they will immediately be dished out this one within 10 days, and then they'll become the parent scopes. That 10 subnet is a rather important one for the IP addressing. So the ones that are on that are the important users. The servers of the IP rollouts moving forward will have the secondary IP scheme, which is the 192.168. So the 10 is the main scope of this, but it's a rather secure scope. Everything I just went over, and then now that pulls us into our Active Directory users and account services. So as I mentioned, there are 5. I have them listed out right here, as well as a picture at the bottom. The picture shows the same thing you see on that screen. So without further ado, user 1 is our first hire besides myself, Mercedes Thomas at NET-289.com. I'm only going over this once. Password at Cisco123, expires the next login. So that repeats the same thing for every person except the name changes. Next is Nevin Reg, not myself. There is a Jack Kennedy, Jazz Michelle, and then John Wick as the 5th user. Remember, we were looking to hire 3 to 5 more people within a 9-day range. Those will be added urgently, so they get the 10.0 scopes. There you go, same information, and here is all of them. So I'll click on Mercedes. I'm probably actually going to crash that again. I probably shouldn't click on that, which is my computer's fault, not the server's. Alright, File Server Resource Manager. I'm going to make my way to File and Storage Services, and then File Resource Manager after that. So here's our quota management, and as you can see, that screenshot is the next page we're about to get to. This was set to auto quote because we have 5 users, so I let it do its thing on the 5. This I at some point prefer you take on a manual standpoint and then move from there. But in the meantime, auto works just fine. As that says, the server is going to be reconfigured for new staff moving forward, and you click on that and get the same thing. It's taking up 3%, barely anything going on, and it's the users of the whole C drive, which is just the 5 people. So now we can exit out of that, save my RAM, and it goes on to one of the final parts of the project. Not the, but one of the is our this server is supposed to be able to be contacted from outside and other ones that want to tap into it. And by that, you need a domain name, and you need it to be willing to accept that. And because of that, you have to have the virtual machine set up properly for that as well. So for here, we're going to take a look back at the virtual machine. And you can see there's a couple different things going on with our 2 running. The other one I have hidden to the right. We got logged out, so I want to log back in real quick. And man, I much rather prefer Oracle over VMware. I think it's miles better. Oh, my bad. 1111. So as I had it pulled up properly, as you can tell, this server, just an outside server, nothing special to it, is attached to this domain. So this server 2019 is able to be attached to by other hypervisors and servers going on. This domain is ready to be joined and completely set up for that. So NET-289, you'll get used to seeing that a lot. So that is pretty much all it takes for tapping into it. And the reason being, is that roles were set up for that. So I'm going to go ahead and log out of this server, as it was there solely to show that it's already configured to do such. It just will need to be expanded upon. But the reason is that we're able to do such in the first place is because the Ethernet is bridged. Now that is a confusing term, but it has all the importance. The bridge allows them to be on the same wavelength going on. And so it's not trying to speak two foreign things over any sort of wireless connection, that it kind of copies over the same data. There's just what a bridged adapter is, same data on one adapter. So bridged adapter, and of course it's just the name that my current computer one comes with. And then it will immediately switch over to the one running right now for that bridged, and it will show the same information, same driver that my type 2 hypervisor is spitting out from my desktop, and is also bridged. So same data, one adapter is the whole moral. Oh, didn't mean to click out of that, but it is all right. I'm going to go back into it though. My apologies. All right. Other than that, all this virtual machine took was a Windows 10 ISO file, and that's what the original one was used for. I had this set up many months before I ever started this project, and I pretty much just had to adjust the RAM a little bit. And after I got the server one, which took up more storage and more RAM to begin with, I just had to get them on the save length. But yes, this server takes place on Oracle Virtual Machine, which I'm glad we didn't have to use VMware. I'm much more familiar with Oracle. I hope you are the same boat as me. If not, they are pretty similar. It's just some things here and there and features such as Snapshot that we will not be missing out on at all to begin with. So the last thing I'm going over on this project, I think I scrolled right past it, is the IPAM. So this is the IP address management database. IPAM is a monitoring and management of IP addresses in the first place. So it is not set up. I mean, in a way it is. It's connected to NET-289, NET-289.com as the admin, but it's not provisioned is what I meant. So you will provision this and then finish configuring it so it can go and start and manage the domains and IPs that come out from that database, which could be several hundred, not really sure. Within your 3-month time frame of the contract, I don't think you'll deal with several hundred. I think by the time we get on a type 1 hypervisor to really speed up the server is when it will tap into that sort of discography. Without that being said, that is the end of the server project on everything that took place to start it, manage it, and I look forward to have you toggling, configuring it, making it better in the long run. If you have any questions, reach out to me, as I am remote at the moment. And of course, that this 2019 project was chosen over Windows Server 2016. There's a lot of personal conclusions that go on with this, none that I need to read out to a new hire. But with that being said, I hope all is well, and there are things that can be improved upon in this whole project's ordeal. So take care and have a good one.